So I'm always just browsing through social media looking for new stuff happening in the BVI, and I stumbled across this most amazing artist doing some absolutely incredible stuff with glass. And I'm here in her kitchen today because we're going to share with you this lady's fine craft work. Lynn Crook, been living in the BVI for over 33 years. Come go with me. So, I'm here in your kitchen, Lynn.
Great.
Just about a week after seeing your stuff on Facebook, actually. And I was just super impressed.
Thank you very much.
Super, super
Thank
impressed. You know, I keep saying I love art, any
Right.
form of art, visual art, literary art. I love art.
Yes.
And in this beautiful location where you are here in overlooking Brewers Bay in
Yes.
Tortola, what was the inspiration?
The BVI is my inspiration, really. I gather a lot of ideas just by looking outside my window, by going to the beach, by traveling to the other islands. In my garden, I get inspiration. I do hummingbirds and flowers and plants and beach scenes and sea creatures, etc. So the BVI is and always has been my inspiration for my work here.
And how long have you been doing it?
I've been doing stained glass windows for over 40 years. I started doing it just for fun as a hobby when I lived in the States prior to moving here. I moved here then, worked on a yacht, became very busy with my family, and just didn't have time to really do it commercially like I'm doing it now. I did it for auctions and donated pieces of work to groups that were doing fundraisers, etc. So I did a lot of that. And then recently, with COVID, I thought, I'm home a lot now, and my husband built me this awesome little studio. So I've got to pay for it somehow.
Yes.
So I decided that why not just try and make windows? And I love my craft. I absolutely love it. I could probably be up there for 12 hours a day. My husband sometimes thinks I've left home because I never come down from my studio. Right. It's got a great view, etc. So I've been doing it for a long time, and it's only been since October that I started when I gained my trade license. Was granted that by the government kindly, and started doing some stock pieces just for fun, making up different pieces to hang in my studio. And then only a couple of weeks ago, I just thought I should put some of my work on BVI community boards so people know that I'm doing this, because I don't really want to put it in shops, because I think I'm busy enough almost not to have to put it into an environment where it's commissioned work. So that's my story in short, and I just love what I do.
Reawakened some stuff in a lot of us. A lot of us have been doing some introspection during this entire year since we've been in lockdown. And to think that you could pull something like this out of your hat because of COVID is just incredible. So tell us about this one in your kitchen.
Yeah, so this piece I actually designed. We lost our house in Irma, so I got to redesign my whole kitchen. So I thought what fun it would be to do some panels for my glass cupboard. So I designed them. They have over 800 pieces of hand-cut glass in them. And the two panels kind of flow together. If you can see how I designed them so that the leaves of each panel and these stems would flow into, each pair of panels. It took me about 170 hours to make them. And then I had my cabinet maker on the insert inside leave space for me so that my husband could install them. He's my installer when I do big projects, so he's great. And then they're just siliconed on the inside. They're very, very, very strong once they're installed. And they're framed as well with a piece of, it's called zinc cane. So it makes them very sturdy. So that was kind of how I got really enthused again after so many years. And these are the biggest pieces I've actually ever done. I had to do them 2 at a time because they're so large and I don't have a lot of room in my shop. So I love them, and I've since had commissioned work from another acquaintance of mine here in the BVI to do custom windows for her cabinets, which I've now finished.
They're beautiful, and
thank
we
you very much.
really like how the light on the inside, just really causes all of the details to stand out really beautifully.
Yeah, the backlighting is key in any type of cupboards, and then of course when you hang windows with natural sunlight, the light automatically shows through without.
And you said it took you how many hours?
170.
How do you price something like that? I mean, it's
difficult.
It's not like doing a painting. Yes, you can paint several at a time, come back to them.
Right.
It's true, but 100 and something hours. I mean, if you were to price that at a going rate of 100, and 100 is nominal, right? $100 an hour.
Yeah, I don't charge that much. It would be too cost prohibitive, but I take the glass into account. The glass is expensive to get here because it's heavy, and there isn't a supply, stained glass here. Right. So I do have to ship that in. So I try and ship in larger quantities of it if I know I have quite a bit of work coming up. Right. And it comes over by freight, so it's not too bad. The materials works out to be between $25 and $35 a square foot for materials, depending on what type of glass people wish to have in their cabinets, because some glass is more expensive than others. Some of this rippled glass, like this is rippled, and a lot of glass you'll see when we go up to my studio, there's different effects that you can have, and different, color variations, etc. Many.
This is an inspiration to anybody to redo a few cabinets in the kitchen. I'm telling you, doing them. It's unique and special.
It's very fun.
Really, really, really nice.
Thank
so
you.
What we're going to do is we're going to head up to your studio.
Okay, great. The fun place.
Yeah.
This is my studio that my husband Barney had built for me. We designed it ourselves. It's really kind of a fun little spot. It overlooks, as you can see, Brewers Bay, which is really inspiring when I'm up here a lot, 10 or 12 hours a day. So it's really fun to come up here and do my work. Yes. Thank you, Barney.
What's the name of the business?
It's Island Reflections.
Yes.
Right, which I thought was a good name. the word, yeah. I didn't want to cut glass letters because they would have had to have been too big. Okay. So I got some of the stick-on ones for that. Okay. So I did. That was my first thing that I did actually when the building got done, was my sign.
Your little sign.
Yeah, my little sign, because I thought I have to have my name. And years ago I thought of this name, and I thought, right, it's perfect for what I'm doing.
Yes.
Yeah. Anyway, it's very small in here.
That's okay.
Come on in. It's my shop. Okay, so what I do is I choose a design, or if I have a client that has a design, lots of people will bring me a picture of something that they want, and then I draw that out in triplicate. So I use just plain poster board like this, carbon paper, 3 copies, and I draw out what I'm going to do.
Right.
And then I have to cut one of the pieces, one of the poster boards, each individual piece gets cut out. Okay, so I have bags here that I'm working on this project of the ones I've already traced around the glass. So that all gets cut out and numbered so that I know what piece, it's like a big jigsaw puzzle, what piece goes where, because as you can see, there's a lot of tiny little pieces, and I wouldn't be able to, I can barely read the numbers without my glasses on, which I'm going to put on. I need big glasses for up here because it's a lot of detail work, and it takes a lot of patience. So I start by doing that. Then I choose my colors. If I don't know what colors I'm going to use, I have all the glass down here, all kind of sorted by color, different types and shapes. And most of it's obviously squared off, but there are different types. And behind you, Portia, you can see this is glass that I'm working on for this particular piece. So this is my glass cutter. It's a Taurus ring saw, specifically made for glass. It has a diamond blade on it that circles around, and it's powered by water. So these are the pieces that I did a couple of this morning. So here's the traced piece on here. So now I can cut around this piece. In fact, I might use a different piece that'll be quicker. Maybe this one. be easier to show you the other process. So I can cut a little piece out of here, then it won't take quite so long. It gets loud, but that's how it works. And I always wear my glasses or goggles, usually glasses because they're plenty big and I need to see.
Yeah.
And I wear my hat because little pieces of glass sometimes get in my hair, and that's really annoying. So I wear my son-in-law's company work hat. Anyway, so I'll turn this on and then I'll cut this piece and I'll show you the next step. Now we have a nicely cut piece of glass, and hopefully it fits where it's supposed to go. And I take each of the sharp points and just take them down a bit so I don't cut myself so much. So, as I said, that's driven by water. Then I take each piece off and dry it. I usually have my rags out here, but I'll use paper towel. Dry it off so it gets nice and dry. And I'll leave the number on there if I can, because sometimes I have so many pieces I cut that I need to have the number.
This requires an incredible amount of patience.
Yes, everyone says that. Everyone says, I don't know how you do it, Lynn.
No, I wouldn't be able to do it.
I especially like the cutting. So what happens next is each of these pieces gets coated with this material. It's called copper foil, and it's sticky on one side. And then you'll see why we have to do this once I do the next step. Sorry, this won't take all that much longer, but it's good to see the whole process because people don't really know how it works.
No, this is patience. This is the patience of Job.
So this tiny little piece of copper foiling, and there's different types. You can get black back and silver back, depending on what you're going to color your solder lines with. If you're going to do them black or silver. Because you don't want this to show through. I only have black in here at the moment, but each piece has to be perfectly centered on the piece of glass like this. And then I usually sit down and do all this at one time. I don't, I cut all the glass first and then I lay it all out on the pattern piece there.
Right.
I'm just saving a little step here. And then I solder it together after this is all done. This is the part that, not my favorite part, is the foiling. It's just quite time consuming and it's really hard on the eyes. So you cut that and then you take this little thing called a fid, and I usually have a towel here because I don't like to break any glass, and if there were anything on this countertop that was uneven, it would break the glass. So this fid, you press all the copper foil on very hard so it doesn't come off. It's quite sticky. But sometimes if you don't have a good bond, it doesn't stick that well. Then each of those edges gets pushed down around the edge. It's good. It's a good thing to have fingernails when you do this because you need to get in the corners and push that down. And then each of those edges, again, it's hard to see. I'll do it over here. Each of these edges, again, gets the treatment with the fid and gets pressed on really hard so that it doesn't stand any chance of coming off of the piece, both sides. So that happens.
And that's the only way that can be done?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. I have to explore some sort of new technology for that.
There are tools that you can use. Like I've tried a couple of them before. This is one, but it just doesn't work.
Okay.
It's not as good as doing it with your own eye. And I had another one that everyone said was brilliant. And I reverted back to you still have to guide it no matter how you do it. Yeah, so I would prefer to have it in my hand, looking at it straight on. I usually work under quite a bright light. So then this piece would then go, this is piece 95, I think it said. So it goes onto my little pattern. Oh, no, it's not that one. Oh, this is the surround. So here it is, 58. So it gets positioned. With any luck, it'll fit perfectly, which it does, in the spot that it's supposed to go. So then I do that with every single piece of glass. Once that's done, then I do, and I can demonstrate. Do you want me to demonstrate with this or with another piece that I already have pieces that I could demonstrate the soldering capabilities or how you put the whole piece together?
Whatever is easiest for you.
It might be easiest to do it with another piece. So let's just say, here's two pieces that I had to spare. These are two pieces that were, let's pretend they're part of that. So they go fit together. Then they get what we call solder flux, which is a liquid. This is one that's not quite so fumy at all, which is good. It used to be very fumy solder flux. So you have a little brush that you put the solder flux on, and what the flux does, it makes the solder, which I'll show you in a minute, stick to this copper foil, which is what I could call it glues the whole thing together. Right. Yeah, soldering. So you have to solder each piece like so, and then you put them together. So I said this is a quick demo. Plug my soldering iron in, my favorite tool. Lots of outlets here, which is great. And it only takes a second to heat it up.
You're not going to have too many people doing this.
No, I don't think so. No, it's kind of a labor of love, you know? It'll heat up in just a second.
You have to really love this.
Yes, I do. I really do. And I have for a long time. And it is very time consuming, the amount of labor that I actually put in. So I can't charge so much for my labor. Everyone said, oh, you should charge more, but I don't want to outprice myself. I want people to enjoy my artwork, and I don't want it to be outrageously expensive. So I try and keep it fair. It's almost, now it's ready. So this soldering iron, then this is special solder that you use at 6040 lead and tin. Anyway, you can't unfortunately get that here. I'm going to see if one of the hardware stores maybe can start getting it. And then you just melt this solder with this hot iron onto the piece of glass like so. It's called beading the solder. And so it gets beaded onto there. And this takes quite a bit of practice to get it kind of to flow nicely and join nicely. So that holds the whole piece together. You do both sides of the piece. So now I can flip it over and it doesn't take long to dry. Put a little flux on the other side, the back side, which would be the back side of the piece when it's done. And again, you do another nice bead of solder. Voila, the soldering. So I do like soldering now that I've gotten a little quicker at it, because it does take some practice to get the beads. And then you would continue going around every single piece to join it together. So if this were the piece, I firm this up, the piece, I tack it with these little tacks so that it can't move once all the pieces are in there. And then I do that, solder the whole piece together in one go, all at once. And then you can either keep the solder silver like this one is. I polish it with glass polisher. Or you can put this, this chemical on called patina. And it's called black patina. So it's a liquid and it will turn it black. Do you want me to show you how that changes it? Yeah, I can. It just takes 2 seconds. So you just get a Q-tip. This black patina goes in here. You can also do the lines in copper. Like I've done this mirror that I made for in here. That's a copper instead of black or silver. So all you do is get a little Q-tip and you put that onto the Q-tip and you've got black solder lines. And it changes it chemically. The same with the copper. Does the same. And then so it's just personal preference. Really, some people like silver and some designs look better in silver than others. So it really, you know, it's kind of an artist's eye, or if the client has a particular, you know, wish to have it black or silver, that's what I do. I try and do everything that my customers would like me to do. And then once that's done, once it's all soldered together, then I frame them in this, which holds the whole piece together. And then I have a miter saw so I can make perfectly square corners that I use up here. and then that gets soldered onto the piece in the back. So it can't come off. And again, this can either be left silver. I always have to polish it first and use steel wool because of the climate here. You know, it oxidizes it. And then you can either paint that black or silver, or like this one is copper. And then I put hooks and chains on each piece as well. Like you can see on these pieces, little round hooks go on there. And then I supply the chain, whatever length people need for whatever window. There's varying types of chains. Like that one's a lot daintier on the pineapple piece. And then these are a bit heavier. It just depends on the piece and what chain, because I like to buy my chain here.
Right.
I like to buy something here that I can. So that's kind of the finished product. But as I said, there's so many different fun designs you can do. I've done, I had pictures. Well, you saw my pictures of the lemur. And I like to do the sea animals. And I love to do plants and flowers, etc. And I can do custom signs for people or logo, you know, stained glass logo signs. Well, like I've done out here for myself.
So what do you want to say to the viewing audience about how to secure a piece of your amazing work?
Well, I just have people shoot me an email on my email, which is islandreflectionsbvi@gmail.com. I haven't gotten as far as doing a website yet, and I'm not sure I want to because I don't really have time
and they're
to maintain it.
Anyway.
Yeah, and they're all custom pieces. I like people to be able to see what I've done, and I do have a book of all my works that I've done in the past, and everything I've done in this shop so far, I have hanging up on the wall. I've taken pictures of the work. So all of those now have been sold, except this one. This one's sold too, and the pineapple I made for my daughter in Switzerland. So I'm saving that for her. She said, Mom, I love that. So what's your price? What's the price range? The price range, it varies on the complexity of the design, number one, and the size, of course, and the type of glass that you use. Because some glass, like I have this iridescent glass, which is really cool for hummingbirds and things like that. So it's amazing for hummingbird wings, and like I've used up here, that's iridized. You can't see it when it's hanging, and they're all different colors of iridized. This is more expensive too, the Ripley. The Arctique glass, like this, is again pricier because of the design of the glass. So pricing wise, that's kind of how it works. Obviously, the bigger the piece, the more expensive it's going to be. Small pieces, I try and keep my labor between $20 and $30 an hour. Which everyone says isn't very much, but as I said, I don't want to outprice myself in the market. Right. I don't charge for my design time because I figure that's all part of the product. Right. And is the design and drawing, and I like to have my clients choose the colors that they like, unless they want me to do it. You know, if they trust my artistic judgment, which is fine. I love doing that too because I like to consider myself.
Are those actual sizes, or those are just photographs?
No, they're just photographs.
Those are photographs of pieces you've done.
Yeah, like this piece, which is a fairly, medium-sized window. It's a nice size to hang in a window. It's not too big, not too small. I'm selling that for $2.95. Okay. Yeah.
So people can get an idea. So that's about 12 by 16.
That is, I think it's 17 by. Hold on, I have all my big rulers just for that purpose. That one, I think, is 11. 10 by 16. Okay. So, and then I have smaller ones, like this one up here, the hummingbird, which I really like, is super cute. That is 8 by 10. So that one I just sold, and that is, I'm trying to think what I sold. I have it right here. That one I sold for $195. Okay. Yeah. So it does vary, according to the size and the complexity of the piece. That one doesn't have a huge amount of pieces in it. And I just charge for the materials. I, of course, need to cover my costs for shipping and duty. And that brings that price up a little bit. But as I said earlier, it's about between $20 and $30 a square foot for the materials, to give you a range. So it just depends.
So it's been great, Lynn, here at Island Reflections. And I hope that you spend a lot more years developing these beautiful pieces for all of us around the BVI. When I can muster up some I'll be
Extra
sure.
cash.
Yes, I'll be sure to get a nice little piece for myself.
Great. Thank you.
love
It's
it.
been wonderful to have you and to show someone my craft, because a lot of people don't really know how it's done. And I think
Yes.
it's kind of an interesting
It's
process.
tedious.
It's very tedious. Yeah.
It's extremely tedious. It's
Never
not
ending.
something I would even attempt to do. I don't even want to learn how to do it. That's for you.
It's patience.
Yes, yes.
I've learned that from living in the BVI. Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Another thing I've learned.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
Fantastic.
great. Thank you so much.
Okay. Well, do like, subscribe, and comment. And look out for all of our videos on YouTube. Portia at Lady Sarah's. This is our lifestyle edition.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
But 80 to 80, 30. Yes, width and length. How do I find time?
Yes.
Honestly, I get cussed a lot.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, because I come out in the garden, it's my zen space. You know, when I'm out here, I come out intending to just spend an hour, and I end up spending a lot longer than.
So we've just harvested these fresh herbs from Vereen's lovely garden. I'm going to keep them as far apart.